I've talked about the notion of being morally velocitized in the past, and that idea is just simply that, like when you drive a car and you're moving fast down the freeway, you get used to the speed and so you don't notice it that much, and then you accelerate and you notice it a lot, and then you get used to that, and you can get going so fast that you're in a real dangerous situation, but you're not aware of it. That happens morally with cultures as well, as we get used to things. Francis Schaeffer says what is amazing or out of the ordinary yesterday is ordinary today, that kind of thing. So we have to be careful of that. There's also a tactic that Stand to Reason teaches that is called taking the roof off, and taking the roof off is, very briefly, is where you help people see the consequence of their idea. That is, if you take this particular view seriously and you give it a test drive and you take it to its logical conclusion where it goes down the road, well, that if it goes to an awkward or morally questionable place, then there's something wrong with where you started at the beginning. The reason I mention both of those things is because I've had a question that someone has asked related to the fact that, is it going to always be effective to take the roof off? That is to say to people, wait a minute, look at where this idea is going to take you. This is dangerous. If the culture gets so morally velocitized that they're insensitized to that kind of thing, and it has occurred to me this has happened a few times. I'm looking at the abortion issue, for example. One of the ways that we want to show that abortion is wrong is we trot out the toddler. We say, whatever argument that you give for abortion, could we make the same argument for the newborn child? Because there's no relevant difference between a child just before he or she is born and after they're born. They're the same individual, they've just changed location. And so if you can kill an unborn at this stage of development, can you kill then a newborn at the same stage of development? Now what we want to do is we want to get people to think, gee, it's wrong to kill the newborn, so maybe it's wrong to have an abortion at that same period of development, and that's taking the roof off. Do you see where this leads? Do you see the connection? Do you see the logical slippery slope there? And that's effective in many circumstances. However, in abortion, there are some people who have said, well, it's okay to kill the baby in the womb, and there is no morally relevant difference inside the womb than outside of the womb, so maybe it's okay to kill the baby outside of the womb too. And some philosophers have advanced this idea. Peter Singer's most notably and famously from Princeton, and also those who wrote the article called After Birth Abortion. We can abort the baby after it's born, is basically the idea. Now this seems bizarre, but people are countenancing this. Why? And I think they're countenancing this now because of moral velocitization. They're morally velocitized. They are so used to the speed, the moral decline that they have been in, that making another step doesn't seem like a big deal. So the answer is yes. Sometimes if we want to show people the absurd direction that they're going, morally speaking, sometimes it makes a big difference. Other times, if they have been so jaundiced in a certain sense, morally velocitized, they're out of touch. They're not capable of seeing how bad their next step is, and therefore taking the roof is not going to have taking the roof off is not going to have as great an impact as it used to.